1. I'm a school bus driver in a small town. It's difficult to find good school administrators because it's a tough gig. There's a lot of impoverished families in the area with parents who are either always working or apathetic about parenting, so parental involvement is pretty low. Principals usually only stay for a few years and move on to a larger district. All this to say that the principal of the elementary school doesn't have her act together. When school gets out, it's complete mayhem in the parking lot. Buses can't get through to pick up students and are sometimes literally stuck out on the street and unable to get into the lot at all. There's a lot of frustration for us drivers over it, but not much has been done. Anyway, last school year I drove a small bus that pulled directly in front of the school doors to pick up one special ed student. Only one other bus did the same thing, and the larger buses pulled into another area. One day I was again stuck in the parking lot, unable to get to where the student pickup was. Ahead of me was the other special ed bus, and to the left side of me was a pickup truck trying to get between me and the bus in front of me. I waved to the truck not to do that, and the guy angrily straightened out and then cut in front of the bus in front of me, blocking that bus in. A couple of parents behind him followed suit, so we bus drivers could only sit there. This is when things went sideways. A teacher who'd been witness to everything came up to my bus and motioned for me to move forward. I couldn't because I was already too close to the bus in front. He was irritated that the tail of my bus was sticking out to the left and blocking teachers who were parked to the left side of my bus from being able to back out and leave for the day. He then motioned for me to go left, around the bus in front of me, and exit the parking lot, where I'm assuming he wanted me to circle around and come back in behind parents in their vehicles. Not only could I not go left because I'd clipped the bus in front of me with my right fender, but I shouldn't have had to. The parking lot was a damn shit show every day, and I was fed up. I sat and stared at him with resting bitch face. At this point he got angry, motioned for me to open my bus doors, and when I did he yelled at me. I told him I couldn't do as he wanted, but as soon as he got his CDL and became a bus driver, he could do my job instead of me. He shook his fist and walked away. After this incident, the school principal called my boss and insisted that my bus pull into the regular bus area, instead of in front of the doors, thus forcing the kindergarten special ed student to walk down a hill and requiring that his aide accompany him. What a stupid principle, to not have solved the actual problem, but whatever. A couple of days later, a fellow bus driver told me that the teacher's aide, who held the stop sign for kids to cross on the road in front of the school, had told her that she'd heard I was being forced to park in another area because I threatened the teacher who'd yelled at me. She said she'd also heard I was a danger to students. I was livid. Now, I happened to live down the street from the school principal, and the day after my co-worker told me what she'd heard, I contacted the principal on her personal number she'd previously given me and told her what the teacher's aide had said. I then connected the dots for her and said that the teacher who'd yelled at me had obviously been spreading rumors. I said that accusations of being a danger to students were dangerous, and how dare those people compromise my ability to make a living. I told her she could ask my boss for the tape of the day the teacher yelled at me to see for herself that I did nothing wrong, and how the teacher had actually been the one in the wrong and had acted so unprofessionally towards me. I said if you have any reason to believe I'm a danger to students, then you better produce the evidence. The principal was mortified that her employees were acting so juvenile. She called both the teacher and the aide into her office and told them she knew they were spreading rumors and to stop or they'd get a formal warning. She then followed up with me and told me what she'd done. Something I kind of fibbed about is that the tape in our buses overwrites itself every day. There was no way for the principal to view the tape from any day other than the last day I'd driven. For the next 2 weeks, as I pulled through the lot in my bus, I made sure to wave and smile really big at the teacher who'd yelled at me, and did the same to the teacher's aide holding the stop sign. I enjoyed their initial looks of confusion, then eventual waving back. After 2 weeks, I stopped waving and glared at them instead, resulting in more looks of confusion. The rest of the school year I ignored them. Icing on the cake was when I was the bus driver for a high school tennis tournament that the teacher who yelled at me was the coach for. He was forced to be nice to me in front of all his student athletes, or look like a total moron. Good stuff. 2. This happened about 6 years ago when I was 17 years old. At the time, I was really into drones, and was spending a good 2 hours a day watching drone footage and daydreaming about buying a DJI Phantom 4. One day, when browsing drones on Facebook, I came across a page called Drone Uplift, with loads of likes and a ton of cool videos of drones and accessories. To my delight, I saw that this page was holding a giveaway in partnership with a popular drone store for a DJI Phantom 4. The basis of this giveaway was in just over a month from now, whichever Facebook user on their page had interacted the most would be selected as the winner and be sent the drone. At this time, I was pretty comfortable with my high school classes and was working a part-time job. The giveaway had started a couple of days prior, so I decided to pour all my free time into winning this drone. I went back on every post, and I'm talking probably around 200 at this point, and liked it, tagged my friends and co-workers, and commented something I thought was interesting. That's not where I stopped. I got all my friends and co-workers to start replying to any of my comments I tagged them in, and even started the drone club at my school with the premise of everyone interacting with my comments to aid in my affairs. At its peak, I probably had around 50 people regularly liking and replying to my comments on posts that had around 20 comments max. I also noticed that this Facebook page had yet to start using Instagram. I checked if the handle Drone Uplift was available and grabbed it right away. I created a login for the handle and messaged the Facebook page, telling them they could log in, change the password, and secure it for their own purposes. They replied thanking me, secured the handle, and posted a video there within a week. The week leading up to the giveaway date, I'm feeling pretty fucking pumped. I'm the top contributor by far on the page, and everyone I know is telling me that I'm a clear winner for the giveaway. The date of the giveaway comes, and to my dismay, I don't win. They announce the winner as James Wilkins, or something like that. Now, remember, at this point, I know this Facebook page inside out. I immediately search through the page and find only 10 posts with this guy interacting. I messaged the page asking about their decision, and they just give me some bull about his comments being more relevant than mine. I'm feeling pretty lame at this point, so I emailed the drone store that they partnered up with, asking about their involvement in the decision process. They mentioned that they weren't aware of any giveaway partnership. Next, I look into this guy's Facebook account, and it was made the same time that the giveaway was. I started to understand that I had been played a fool. Now, I'm choked and embarrassed. I involved so many people in my life to help with this whole ordeal and feel like I wasted all of their time. I had to do something. Mind you, I tried to contact Facebook about the whole thing, but wasn't getting any response back. I screenshotted the entire ordeal and sent it to the rep from the shop I was talking to, and told him this page was making them look really bad with a fake giveaway. His reply was something along the lines of, "Oh, thank you, we're now investigating the issue and considering legal action." Nice. I didn't stop there. I took screenshots of those emails too and created my own Facebook page called Drone Uplift is a Scam, and posted the entire thing on the page. Then I messaged everyone that I noticed was a high contributor to the page during my previous month of diligence with my story, and had them post about their interaction as well. My page ends up getting decent traction with people talking about how pissed they were that the whole thing was fake, so that whenever you searched for their page on Facebook, mine showed up right below it. A week later, their entire page and Instagram had been removed, and I never saw them again. I checked probably every month after that to see if they would attempt to return, but my personal vendetta had been satisfied. Don't fuck with high school kids on the internet. They got time. 3. For context, I'm a 19-year-old male, and I've known Carl, also 19 and male, for around 2 years. We were friends, but we didn't often get along. It all came to a head when I was driving him and 3 friends around. Since it was my car, I had my phone connected via Bluetooth, and he offered to control music for the drive. One thing about me that I hid from them extremely well was that for a couple of months, I would cosplay as my own robot character and sometimes post it on Instagram and TikTok. I did it mainly for fun, but I still pose every month or two. Back to the story. Carl proceeded to snip through my phone trying to find my search history, recently deleted photos, my Snapchat DMs, as well as my cosplay account. And that isn't even the worst part. He showed it to two of my friends who were in the back as well. The only way I knew was when Carl called me by my cosplay name, and I was instantly embarrassed and fearful. I questioned Matt, who was in the back seat with him, if he was the one, and he, as well as the other friend from the back seat named Ash, admitted that it was Carl that had gone through my phone. Now, Ash, Mark, and my other friend, who was in the front seat, Jake, all don't have a problem with the account, and even Ash finds it a little bit funny. To say I was pissed was an understatement. I was thinking of ways to get back at him, but I got an idea. Ash has been friends with Carl way longer than me, so when he said that he had Carl's email, a plan formed. So that night I signed up his email for everything he hated. Some examples are: liberal campaign email list. He's a conservative. Furry and LGBTQ+ email list. He's extremely homophobic, hates furries. Bud Light email list. Hates it due to the recent controversy. A rival sports team newsletter. Adam and Eve catalog. If you know, you know. Gay adult video websites. When he was going through my phone while I was driving, I didn't know what he was doing until we got out of the vehicle. I was really only friends with Carl because he didn't know anyone else and would literally beg me and others to hang out or invite him. I didn't know that Carl was homophobic until I saw some of his social media posts. I am aware that my two friends who were in the back with Carl didn't tell me, but mainly due to them being slightly drunk, and they had been partying all day. I will be cutting contact with Carl. Update. A few days ago, I got a DM from someone who said I should put his phone number on random people's cars for various reasons. He ended up calling me a couple of hours later, asking WTF was going on. I admitted it to him because of what he did, and he tried throwing Matt under the bus, saying Matt grabbed my phone out of his hands. I asked Matt about it, and he had solid evidence of it being Carl. Later that night, Carl finally grew a pair, and admitted it was him. 4. I'm in the midst of leaving a truly terrible job. I've only been there for a year, but began noticing issues after the first month. Now, this is in healthcare, and we work with very vulnerable people. And I've seen some horrendous ethical issues and lack of competency among employees and my employer. Example, permitting clinicians to perform tasks they are not trained in, recommending treatments that are basically pseudoscience. Not to mention, my employer has no respect for boundaries or work-life balance, which are essential in this field if you want to avoid burnout, and has horrible work-life balance, time management, and organizational skills themselves, leading them to be behind on all work constantly with over 2,000 emails sitting in their inbox. This also resulted in much of my work being delayed, and clients getting upset that they are waiting for things that the employer needs to do. Because of this incompetence, I get constant emails and texts asking me to work on off days, or my employer texting at 8 p.m. or 7 a.m. and expecting a reply. I have set very clear boundaries from the start that I don't work outside my hours, and have also raised concerns about ethics and competency issues, which resulted in my employer becoming defensive and emotional and changing nothing. Since giving my notice, the employer has been pushing boundaries even more. So being the compliant human that I am, and because I do need to wrap things up that I've been waiting for my employer to get on for months, I began responding and including every single work-related communication outside of my hours, or requests for a small task that I needed to complete on an off day as hours worked, and have banked up some nice overtime. Last week, the employer sent an email saying that I am no longer allowed to work overtime, and every hour worked overtime will be banked as vacation time instead. I don't want that, because if I'm working overtime, I deserve to be paid for it. So I immediately stopped responding to anything after hours or on off days, and I've been working only 8 hours on my scheduled days. The frustration and passive aggression coming from my employer since I did that is unmatched. Truly, they should get an award for the snarky and condescending emails and texts they've sent me. I only have a few days left, and will be filing an ethics complaint for the many egregious things I have seen once I'm out of there. It's what they deserve, and I can't wait. Five. My marriage. We were both in our 30s. This is important. Had problems right away. One of the manifestations was him berating me for not going to an elite university. I went to a very good undergrad and an even better grad school. Had not finished at that point. But he went to one of the best schools in the country, known for graduates with a chip on their shoulder. That was really all he had on me, and I would just laugh. Even his parents told him he was being a jerk, and sounded like an idiot because I had an impressive education. Something I had never felt the need to discuss before. So anyway, he became really competitive about his college and especially his friends from college. Very few he was still in touch with, this was before Facebook. And he had this photo box full of memorabilia. Cardboard, no lock or anything. I had dozens or so myself. A normal thing would be to go through his and mine together and share memories and stories and bond. I didn't really care about what was in the box, and the college stories are boring when you weren't there, but I would have listened. The box became a symbol of everything wrong, with him constantly saying I'm not good enough for his college friends. At some point, he forbid me to look in the box. Of course, I didn't take this well. Telling me I wasn't good enough to see what was in the box was like kerosene. It got brought up in every fight, like a death spiral of you're jealous of my friends, your friends suck, and I wouldn't like them anyway. I didn't say I was the hero in this story. Fast forward through years of abuse. We moved on to more spectacular fights, and the box fell pretty far down the list. Then, for some reason, one day he went up to the attic and couldn't find his box. He said I threw it away because I was jealous and petty. I didn't. But after a few years of this, he managed to convince me maybe I did. That's how abuse works. I begged his forgiveness, and it made me even more depressed about the depths to which my life had sunk. Finally got a divorce. Cops, ROs, the whole nine. I healed, moved on. Years later, I sold my house. It was mine before, and when I was packing up, I found the damn box. I had such an emotional reaction, my legs buckled. I sat on the floor and wept. My boyfriend was really sweet about it. He didn't know about the box. It's so ridiculous, and I was so ashamed. But mostly I had put it all behind me by then. Until it all came rushing back. I called a mutual friend and asked him to come get the box so they could get it to him. People suggested I should throw it away out of spite, but I had something to prove. Before I turned it over, I put copies of the 2 unpublished essays I wrote about what he did to me, along with a handwritten note. I knew you didn't have the balls to kill me, and I sold your D&D books. Who is he going to tell? I mean, he probably will. But then he has to admit what it says in the essays. And he's the 52-year-old man bitching 10 years post-divorce that his ex-wife sold his D&D books. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Revenge is Ice Cream, episode 295. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Before you go, please do boop that like button. And if you'd like to get the videos a little bit earlier, then you can support me on my Patreon, which is linked in the description. You can also make donations during streams or videos like this one. And you can buy Hellfreezer merchandise, which is linked in the description. And while you don't have to do any of this, I do appreciate it and it helps me out around here. Okay, let's see. I don't think there's any other business today. We had a shout out on Monday. No, I don't think there's any others just now. I think the next one's October. And with that, we'll move right along to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is: ice water or ice cream to cool you down? Do you have a preference? Personally, while I've been craving ice cream for the past couple of days, don't actually have any in the cupboard. Well, actually, no, I think I've got one in the freezer, but it's expired, and it's probably more expired than I'm comfortable eating, even though it's frozen. You buy things, you toss them, and I think, I'll get them eventually, and you forget about them. So I need to buy some more, which I'll probably do maybe Monday or Tuesday. But I think, generally speaking, I like just really, I was picking up a bottle of water there and it slipped out of my hand, that was the noise. Really chilled water, which I'll be doing. I'll be swapping this bottle of water, which is not really chilled, when I go downstairs for the one I've had in the fridge for the past few hours. I also need to sterilise my insulated water bottles, because I've not used them for a while. I need a good thorough sterilisation before I use them. Very expensive, so I don't want to toss them out because that's just wasteful. But I think, maybe boil the caps, and cleaning the bigger ones is a bit of a concern because I don't have a pot big enough to put that in. The two smaller ones maybe, but not the big one. So anyway, yeah, for me, ice water is very, very cold water is what I prefer. But let me know what you think in a comment below. And with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.